As half the world slips deeper into the icy grip of winter, there is a presence ready to make itself known. One spoken of in whispers, whose existence is veiled by jokes, but never truly seen. It slips into homes in the dead of night, no matter how locked and secure they may seem, and it creeps across the earth, house by house, at impossible speeds. It may even be watching you, right now. Legends of this creature may go as far back as the 1800s, or even earlier, with it possibly being hinted at in ancient Nordic traditions. Its most famous description arguably entered the popular consciousness with an 1823 publication by Clement Clark Moore, which described a home invasion by the being. This report would describe a few of its defining features and abilities, which would be echoed by later stories, including its propensity for appearing at night, ability to enter locked homes, and its command over animals. Further sightings and reports over time would continue to give shape to the creature and its habits, making particular note of its ability to watch people over great distances. It is said to be a deeply moral creature, judging the people it stalks, and it seems to have a particular interest in children. Perhaps its most complex and potentially frightening aspect is its ability to be in many places at once. Many legends surrounding it seem to imply a nearly impossible sweep across the world, home by home, indicating a sort of instant teleportation, or the presence of multiple identical creatures working in tandem. The perceived threat of this worldwide home invader was deemed serious enough by the United States government that in 1955, the North American Aerospace Defense Command began to publicly track its movements. The creature is, by all accounts, humanoid, or at least human-shaped. Its complexion and exact details differ, as does its behavior, ranging from benign and mischievous to outright lecherous, with one sighting hinting towards the harassment of a woman during one of its routine break-ins. It is usually described as markedly fat, aged, and is depicted with a long, white beard. Its outfits seem as old as its legends are, composed of dyed furs and leathers. A large, mysterious sack is often said to be dragged behind it, its contents seeming to never deplete, no matter how much is removed from it. This creature has gone by many names over the years. Dutch legends called it Sinterklaas, and in the United States, it gained the name Kris Kringle. Nowadays, most of the English-speaking world has one name for it: Santa Claus. So, obviously, I'm just having some Christmas fun with you all. It's certainly not a hot take to put a dark or creepy spin on Santa. Calling him a cryptid is probably a stretch too. After all, it's folklore. Unlike Bigfoot or the Mothman, there aren't reported sightings of an actual Santa, right? Well, according to paranormal investigator Stephen Wagner, there might be. On his website, he's collected several submissions from users about supposed sightings of the real Santa Claus. Such sightings are, by their very nature, impossible to truly verify, but Wagner claims that the submissions are indeed collected from real people. Many can be written off as dreams, but Wagner has reported that he has many, many submissions. Assuming these reports are real then, dreams or not, there are people out there who are genuinely convinced they saw someone, or something, that looked to them like Santa. Most of the stories on Wagner's website begin with the incriminating statement that the narrator was awake in bed. But this story by Claxon is at least a little compelling. It was Christmas Eve of 2002. My parents had invited some friends and relatives over for dinner, sort of like a Christmas Eve celebration. After that, I decided to go to my room to watch some television, but there was nothing good to watch. I then found myself pacing back and forth in the hallway. My house is big, so there was no one with me. Everyone was in the living room, watching a movie I wasn't interested in. About 7 minutes into my pacing, I saw a tall, fat figure scurry away about 20 feet away from me. It was crouched down, too. It was even wearing some sort of Santa Claus suit. I didn't believe in Santa, but this just freaked me out. There was a strange man in my house. I quickly ran to where my parents were and told them all about it. They grinned at me and said jokingly, maybe it was Santa Claus. I didn't believe that, so I just sat down in my living room with my family and everybody else. Then it occurred again on Christmas Eve 2014. I remember it more vividly than the last one. I was lying on the couch in the living room. Suddenly, I saw a huge man, about 7 or 8 feet tall, crawl underneath the tree and just vanish. Before it disappeared, it looked at me and said, "Shh." Similar happenings occurred the following Christmases. I recall one in 2007. It was daylight this time, and I just happened to see another tall figure with a Santa hat trudge by me for 2 seconds. Then it was gone. A 2014 article by Martin Nelson proposes a fun theory that the idea of Santa, imagined so intensely by so many people over so many years, could essentially become a sort of real through sheer force of thought. He proposes, perhaps in jest, that Santa could be a sort of tulpa, which is a being created through thought, although the idea of an egregore is actually more accurate, a being or entity created by the collective thought of a group of people. I'm not here to propose that to you with any earnestness, but is it so impossible that a being with such an imprint in the collective consciousness and pop culture might influence the mind into the rare sighting? If one sees something strange out of the corner of their eye at night, and their mind fills in the gap to say, "Huh, that looked like Santa," is that any less valid than the reports of ghosts or aliens? Keep this in mind on Christmas Eve this year as you try to get to sleep. Try not to listen too closely to any errant sounds you may hear coming from the rooftop or the chimney. And if you happen to see the vague shadow of some large, jolly figure, maybe just close your eyes and try to sleep. After all, he knows when you're awake. Merry Christmas, everyone. More videos on the way. Until next time, take care of yourself.